Imagine planning your dream wedding and realizing your maid of honor is doing everything she can to turn it into a funeral for the baby she never had. That's where I'm at. I'm the bride, I'm 42, and this is about my younger sister, Jen. 3 years ago, Jen had a miscarriage at 9 weeks. She and her partner, Scott, were devastated. I was there as much as I could be. Texts, calls, showing up with food, sitting in silence when there weren't any right words. It was a rough time, no question. A few months later, Scott left. Jen told me he left because of the miscarriage, that he couldn't handle the loss, that he bailed when things got hard. I felt furious on her behalf. I thought he was a coward, but something felt off. They'd had a close-knit friend group, and yet no one was checking on her. No girls' nights. No, "How are you?" Nothing. So I called her best friend and said, "Hey, should we plan something? Get her out of the house?" Her friend went quiet, then said, "I think you need to know why they actually broke up." And that's when I found out Jen had slept with someone else. Scott confronted her, and she blamed the miscarriage. I remember just standing there, phone pressed to my ear, feeling my view of the whole situation twist. On one hand, I still had sympathy for her loss. On the other, I realized she was using that loss as a shield, and now as an excuse. Fast forward to 9 months ago, I got engaged. Despite everything, I asked Jen to be my maid of honor. She's my sister. I wanted her by my side, and I thought maybe giving her a meaningful role would help her feel included and heal a little more. At our engagement party, one of our friends brought their baby. As soon as Jen saw the baby, she unraveled. Crying, shaking, needing to step outside, everyone rushing to comfort her. The whole night, the focus was on Jen. Not on the engagement. Not on us as a couple. On her grief, I wasn't angry then. Honestly, I felt sad for her. I thought, she's imagining what life events would look like if her pregnancy had continued. She's grieving the future she thought she'd have. So I gave her grace. I let the night be about her emotions, and I thought we'd move forward. But we didn't. Since then, every time we do something wedding-related, she brings up the miscarriage. And here's the thing, grief doesn't have a schedule. I get that, but this is specific. It only happens around my wedding. I asked her to come, help me pick flowers. We walked into the shop. She saw baby blue roses. She froze, then completely lost it. She's convinced she was having a boy. She started sobbing, saying this is what I would have picked for his christening, for his birthday, for everything. We had to leave. No flowers picked. I chalked it up to another trigger and tried to breathe through my frustration. Then came dress shopping. We went to look at bridesmaid dresses. She picked out a maternity bridesmaid dress and said, "I just want to see how I would have looked if I hadn't." Lost him. Before I could answer, she took it into the fitting room. Next thing I know, she's standing in front of the mirror in the maternity dress, stuffing a cushion up under the fabric to create a fake pregnancy belly. Laughing, crying, saying, "Look, this should have been me." In that moment, I just thought, she's actually losing it. I had to walk away. Later, I tried to talk to her gently. "Jen, maybe it would help to go back to counseling. You've been through so much, and it's bleeding into everything now." She shut it down. "I'm grieving normally. You don't get to tell me how to grieve. This is part of my process." I backed off, but inside I knew something was off. Then she planned my hen party. I was honestly grateful. I thought, okay, she's showing up for me. Then I found out she had sent everyone a list of rules. No talking about pregnancy. No talking about kids. No wearing baby blue, other random restrictions. Basically, my hen party was designed around avoiding her triggers, not celebrating my wedding. I confronted her, but I tried to be kind. "Jen, I appreciate you planning this, I really do. But you can't impose rules like that on people without asking me first. And I still think you'd really benefit from counseling." She brushed it off, said she was just protecting her peace. I let it go again. Then it all came to a head. One of my bridesmaids announced she was pregnant. She'll be 7 months along at the wedding. Everyone was happy, hugging her, congratulating her. I saw Jen's face tighten. Later, I found out Jen called her and told her it would be best if she didn't come, because Jen couldn't maintain her peace if she had to be forced to be reminded of the loss of her child. That was my breaking point. My friend was in tears, asking if she'd ruined my wedding just by being pregnant. I lost it. I called Jen. Enough, I said. You are using your miscarriage to control everything around my wedding. You told my friend not to come to my wedding because she's pregnant? No, absolutely not. I told her if she made one more demand or brought up her miscarriage at one more wedding-related event, she was uninvited. And in any case, she was no longer my maid of honor. She started crying, called me cruel, said I was punishing her for being too upset about the loss of her baby. Then she started telling everyone that I dumped her from the wedding because she was grieving. So yeah, I did something I'm not proud of, but I was angry. I started telling people the real reason she and Scott broke up, that she cheated, and then blamed the miscarriage. Now our family is split. Half think I'm the villain, cold heartless, not understanding her pain. Half think she's out of control, weaponizing her grief, and using my wedding as a stage. I'm stuck in the middle, still furious, but also second-guessing myself. Am I right to draw this line? Or am I failing her as a sister by not being more compassionate? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Two things can be true at the same time. She did go through something tragic. A miscarriage is real grief, real trauma. And she can also be using that grief to center herself to control others and to avoid responsibility for her choices. The lesson I'm trying to learn in all this is that empathy and boundaries are allowed to exist together. I can be sorry she lost a baby and still say, "You don't get to hijack my wedding or push my pregnant friend out because you're hurting." I can love my sister and still refuse to let her dictate the emotional terms of every room she walks into. So now I want to hear from you. If this were your sister, would you have kept her as maid of honor and let the rules stand? Would you have uninvited her sooner? Or do you think I'm being unfair and should have swallowed it all to keep the peace? Tell me in the comments. Who do you think is actually out of line here? And how do you balance compassion with boundaries when grief and family are tangled together like this?